Welcome to the ultimate cartoon movie hub. From timeless classics to the latest hits, we bring the best of animation to your screen. Subscribe and join the fun. Our film begins with Jess, a talented child in drawing and storytelling with a vivid imagination. He is bullied on the school bus by his classmate Janice, and in his class by his classmate Scott. A new student named Leslie joins his class, having just moved to the city. During break, a race takes place among Jess's classmates, and Leslie participates. Just before the finish line, Leslie manages to pass Jess and win the race. Jess is upset about losing and refuses to shake her hand after the race ends. The school day ends, and Jess finds out that Leslie lives in the house next to his, having just moved in. He returns home, grabs his sketchbook, and finds his little sister Maybelle has drawn in it. He yells at her, and their father intervenes, treating her better than anyone else. The next day at school, Leslie sees his sketchbook and tells him his drawings are beautiful and that he's the best artist she has seen. While on the bus heading home, Leslie sits in Janice's spot, and Jess follows her, preventing any conflict with Janice. They get off the bus, and Leslie asks Jess if he wants to hang out with her, to which he agrees. They walk around the house until they enter the forest and find a rope to swing over the river. Jess warns her that the rope has been there for a long time and might easily break, but she swings on it anyway. They play and have fun, and she expresses her wish not to go to school again, imagining a magical kingdom just for them on the other side of the river, accessible through the magical rope in front of them. She swings to the other side and disappears from his sight. Jess follows her, searching for her until she surprises him. They continue to play in the forest until they find an abandoned treehouse. Leslie suggests that it will be their kingdom, and they imagine themselves coming to this kingdom to free its imprisoned inhabitants from the Dark Lord, after which they will become king and queen. They start visiting their kingdom every day, fixing up the treehouse, bringing their belongings and tools. Jess learns from Leslie that her parents are fantasy book authors, explaining her vivid imagination. They notice things falling from the tree above them due to squirrels. Jess suggests they imagine these squirrels as evil spies from the Dark Lord named Squeakers, and they must get rid of them. They pretend to chase them off and imagine seeing their kingdom from the top of the tree. Leslie names the kingdom Terabithia. Jess returns home and draws all his imaginations about the kingdom and the squirrels he named Squeakers. His father asked him to help set up a trap in their garden because animals keep entering their house and ruining their vegetables. The next day, Leslie finds out it was Jess's birthday yesterday and gives him a box of colors as a gift, which he thanks her for. After school, they go to continue working on their treehouse and protecting their kingdom. They find that an old tree nearly fell and destroyed their treehouse, imagining it was the work of a giant sent by the Dark Lord to kill them. They try to drive it away, imagining its footprints and planning to chase it off later. After Jess returns home, he hears that his father's trap caught the animal ruining their vegetables. He rushes before his father to release the animal in the forest before his father sees it and kills it. He returns home, finding his father waiting and scolding him for his actions, saying that the animal harms their crops and should have been killed to prevent it from returning. They live in the real world, not in one of his silly stories and drawings. Jess remains upset at school. Leslie asks if he will go to their kingdom after school, and he tells her to snap out of her fantasies too. During break, his sister Maybelle tells him that Janice stole her sweets and asks him to hit her and get her things back since he's her big brother. He can't do it, saying that fighting her could get him expelled, which would upset their father. He returns home, looks at his drawings, and decides to make amends with Leslie the next day. They arrive home and Leslie asks Jess to help her and her family paint their house. He goes with her, enjoying the time with her and her family. After Jess returns home, his father asks him to get some things from his safe in the garden house. Jess takes his father's keys but loses them. His father tells him he must find them or face punishment. Jess goes to school upset about his father's treatment. Leslie asks why he's upset, and he tells her he lost his father's keys and must find them, or he'll be in trouble. Leslie tells him she knows where the keys are. Belle found them on the ground and took them to make bells. Leslie took them to hang in the treehouse, not knowing they were important keys. Jess says they must get them quickly for his father. They go to their kingdom, imagining the Dark Lord watching them and sending animals to kill them. Jess and Leslie try to escape until they reach their kingdom, finding the keys hanging from the tree above. They see the number of animals increasing, so they summon soldiers and insects to save them from the army. Jess climbs the tree quickly to get the keys, but a large bird attacks him, causing him to fall from the tree before he hits the ground. The giant helps him from falling to the ground and manages to successfully get the keys. He returns home happy and bids farewell to Leslie, glad to have a friend like her. The next day, his school calls and tells him they are going to the art museum if he would like to join. He agrees after consulting his mom and considers taking Leslie with him, but ends up going alone. He spends the day looking at paintings and drawings. When he returns home, he finds his family very worried about him, fearing that he might have died too, and he doesn't understand what happened. He sees them all sitting sadly, and his father tells him that his friend Leslie has died, that she drowned in the river that morning because she was swinging on a rope that broke. Her head hit something, and she died. He doesn't believe them and tells them the rope couldn't have broken. He goes to his room and cries until the next day. He goes to Leslie's family to offer condolences, but Jess remains in denial and refuses to accept that his friend has passed away. The next day, he goes to school, and his classmate Scott tells him he's now the fastest in class. Jess gets angry, stands up in the middle of the class, and punches him in the face in front of his teacher, who sends him out of the class but tells him she won't punish him because she understands how he feels and tries to comfort him. Jess experiences bullying again, but he finds that Janice herself has avenged him and sat next to him. After school, he decides to go to his kingdom to look for Leslie and finds the rope broken and the tree itself fallen into the river. He crosses over to the kingdom and calls out for Leslie until he hears his sister Bella calling for help. He finds her holding onto a part of the tree and tells him to save her before she falls into the river. He goes to rescue her and tells her to go home immediately, but she refuses to leave him. He upsets her until she returns home crying, and her father sees her. He finds his kingdom's house destroyed and throws his colors into the river out of sadness, imagining that the dark leader is chasing him, trying to escape from him until he stumbles on the ground and keeps crying due to the loss of his friend. He finds his father has come to hug him and console him over Leslie's death. He goes back home and tries to apologize to his sister for hitting her, but she refuses to talk to him. He sees her drawing, which depicts him hitting Scott, so he decides to surprise his sister by taking wood from Leslie's father and the forest and goes to Bella, telling her he wants to show her the best place to play in the world, on the condition that she doesn't tell anyone and keeps it a secret between them. He takes her to their kingdom, and she finds that he built a bridge for her to cross to her kingdom. He asks her to use her imagination to see everything she wishes for, as Leslie taught him, and she sees the kingdom and the creatures under her. Rule. He crowns her as queen and tells her it's all because of Leslie's imagination. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, make sure to subscribe for more awesome content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.